Hello everyone, in this video I'd like to talk about how can we use the Siemens S7-1200 PLC, this memory card, if you have one update program need to deliver to a remote S7-1200 PLC. How can we use this card to transfer our update program and use this card deliver your update program to a PLC that working on site? So this is a very common case. For example, if you are working in a machine builder and the control system that is using the Siemens S7-1200 PLC, then you ship this machine to a customer, but this customer may be very far away from you, maybe even across the country. So if the customer asks you to update some feature or update something, how you can change the PLC program, right? The easy way, maybe you can use this card to update your program and transfer your updated program to this card and just mail this card to your customer. And the customer need to do is insert this card to that PLC, and then the program can be updated. And the card you basically can use just the minimum size as a 4 megabyte. Therefore, the cost for the machine builder or for the end user will be very low. So in this video, I will discuss how can we process this. In the meantime, I also like to provide some of my experience I gained before. One thing that is the function block, adding the password for your core function block. And second, we know some existing controller, their firmware, they are lower. For example, in this picture, that controller version, that's the 4.1. If you order the new controller, for example, the existing PLC controller, maybe by some reason that failed, and the end user, they bought one new controller. But definitely that new controller has a higher firmware than the old controller before. But your program still that program based on the old firmware. So maybe this time when you deliver your program, that program still includes the old firmware. So the question will be, can this new higher hardware firmware can still use the lower firmware configuration and the old firmware program? So basically in this video, using this memory card for deliver the program will be a solution. Okay, in this video, I'm using Siemens S7-1200, S7-1214, this AC-DC relay. This is a very common used controller, especially for the machine level. So in this video, I will show how can we use this Siemens card to deliver the new program. So as the end user, as a machine user, he just need to plug in this card so your new program can deliver to this controller. Okay, let's firstly review the TI portal. Let's quickly review the current logic inside, and then I will run the role as the machine builder, machine programmer, and I will add some feature and transfer my program to the Siemens card. And then I will mail this Siemens card to this machine user. As a machine user operator, he just need to plug in this card, and I will show this procedure. Okay? Now let's go to the TI portal. Let's quickly review the existing program in this PLC now. Okay, so in this program, now I have the two logic here. One is controlling give always on for the Q0.0, the first output. And this logic is controlling this Q0.1, the second output. Here, there's one comparison logic here. 20 greater than 10, so it can control, turn on this Q0.1. And these two data come from the data DB. Okay, once we open this DB, we can see the current data. Okay, the data 1, that is 20, and data 2, that's 10. And both data turn on the retain. Okay, if I shut down the power, this data will now be lost because it's turned on the retain. Okay, and because it's a logic, this comparison, so the second output, this is on. We can see from the camera. And also this OB1 is calling this FC logic, and this FC that has password. I will explain after why I'm using this FC with a password. Okay. So now if I try to open this FC, it has password. My password is 1. Okay, once I type in the password, then we can jump to this program and we can go online. Okay. I believe this is the common case. Usually in your program, maybe some function block or some function that has the password. The PLC has the data and the PLC has some function or function block that has a password. Okay. And now let's go back to this case. So the customer wants to add some logic or add some feature in this program. Now, for example, I have the original program now. I'm going to add some feature. To use this card to deliver our program, a very important setting from the PLC CPU properties. So we need to change one setting here. Double click the CPU and find out the startup. The default setting, that is the warm restart mode before power off. To use the card to deliver the program, we need to select the warm restart. By default is this selection. That means if the CPU was on status, if we shut down the power, the CPU restart, then it will return to the original, the previous status. If it was run mode, now after the restart, it will go to the run mode. However, if by some reason the CPU was stopped, if even you cycle power, the CPU will not turn to run because it just go to the mode before power off. Before the power off, if the CPU was stopped, then your CPU still at the stop mode. Then this will be a very annoying status, so your CPU will not able to run unless you use your TI portal connect to the controller and turn on your controller. Or you can use your automation tool. This is another software from Siemens. So you can connect to the controller and turn on. We know the Siemens S7-1200 PLC, it doesn't have the switch. You can turn on the controller from the stall mode to the run mode. This is slightly annoying. So to allow this CPU, force the CPU turn to the run mode, we need to select this, warm, restart, run. Keep in mind, you need to select this mode, warm, restart, run. Okay? And then let's go to the program. Let me add some program. Okay, so the existing program, we have the data here. It turn on the Q0.0 and turn on the Q0.1. Okay, I'm going to add another program. Say in the DB here, I need to add some new feature. For example, I have the DB data 3. This is the new rail and the DB and the data 4. This is also new. Okay, and their start data I can set 50 and 40. Okay, also I can turn on the retain. Okay, and from this logic I can also use the comparison greater compare if the data 3 greater than data 4, then we can turn on the Q0.7. Okay, we can turn on the Q0.7. Okay, and I can add a comment here. This is the new program. Okay, this is the new program need to deliver via the memory card. Okay, so I add this program now. So how can we use the card to deliver this program? This is Siemens memory card. This is a very common style. Okay, this is quite similar like camera or any other SD card. And you can use this common SD card reader to read this memory card. Or basically every laptop now it has SD card, this reader. Okay, you just need to plug it into your laptop. And now I'm going to plug this card into my laptop and we can use the TI portal to transfer my program into this card. For example, this is my laptop. At the side of my laptop here, it has this card reader. So I can plug in this Siemens card. Okay, once we plug in this memory card from the Windows system, we can see the Windows system find this card. And this card, the size is a 4 MB. Okay, even the total is showing this 32, but the actual size for this memory card, that's a 4 MB. 4 MB, this is enough for most of the cases for the S7-1200 PLC. So we double click into this memory card. Maybe in this memory card, it has something inside, but doesn't matter. The first things we need to do is delete all the file in this card. Take care of this word. Just need to delete. Do not format this card. Just delete. So we select all the file, right click, click this delete. Just do delete. So as we know, the Siemens card has some special format. Once you click the format, then this card will be formatted to a very regular card. Then this card cannot be used as a Siemens card anymore. Just very carefully this. Okay, so again, in addition, turn off your display the hidden file. Do not delete the hidden file. Just delete the project file. And then from the TI portal, from this left corner, we can expand this card reader here. And we will see this removable device will show up. So it's showing this SIMATIC MC. Once we delete all the file in this card will be deleted to an unknown mode. Then we need to manually set this memory card role for this card. Right click, click the properties, and select this card type to transfer. Okay, because we are going to use this card as a transfer card, we will copy our program to this card and mail this card to the customer. Okay, click OK. And after select, we will see this role change to transfer. And after this setting, then we will click this entire project here. And we will drag this project to this card. And see this plus icon and release. Okay, click download. Alright, now we transfer this project to this card. In the meantime, we can open this SIMATIC card. And we will see some S7 this file transferred into this card. Okay, now we can unplug this card and we can mail this card. In this card, it has this new program. Then we will mail this card to the customer. Okay, now this end user, this machine user, receive this card, and now as an operator or as the maintenance, so we can insert this card into this controller. Before we insert this card, we need to shut down the power for this controller. Now let's shut down the power. Okay, we shut down the power, and now I'm going to insert the card towards to the top, and there are Siemens symbol here, so it's facing the left side, and then let's insert. Okay. Make sure that plug in. Okay, this surface they are flat. Make sure the card is inserted correctly. And now we can turn on the power. In the meantime, let's see the status of this controller. Okay, let's power up. Alright, once you see this stop indicator solid on and this maintain this indicator is flashing, and now we can turn off the power. Okay, we turn off the power and then we need to unplug this card. Okay, we unplug this card. And now let's turn on the power. And to verify if the program, the new program delivered to this controller, we will see this output Q0.7 that need to be on. Okay. Alright, so we will see the Q0.7 that turn on. That means the new program has been delivered to this controller. But in the meantime, you will see a little bit weird things. If you compare the controller before we insert this card, if you remember the second output, this Q0.1, that was on. But now that turns off. What happened? So let's go to the program. Now I'm connecting this controller just for analyze, just for troubleshoot why this output turned off. This is a very important case I like to show. In the real case, this controller is working on site. You are not able to connect this controller. Okay, this just for show this special case why this second output, this Q0.1 is not on. So now let's go online. So firstly, we will see after I insert this card and once I turn on this online, so everywhere shows green. That means the new program delivered to this CPU. My offline program and this on-site controller, they all matching. And now let me turn on the online. So the controller is on and this output Q0.7 that is on. That's why this new feature, this new program, this Q0.7 that is on. Okay, everything is working. But why this Q0.1 is not on? We will see. This is the reason. The data, even the data turn on the retain. But once we deliver the new program, these two data wiped out and they turn to 0. That's why this output this is off. If you recall, these two value, the date 1 was 20, the date 2 was 10. But after we deliver the new program, the data, the real data value in this DB, that's gone. And if now we turn on this monitoring, we will see. So the data 3 and data 4, this is new data. When I create these two data, they has the start value. And once we download to this controller, they are using this 50 and 40. This is initial data. But this data 1, data 2, that was working on site. And maybe customer was using the HMI, set something already, set this value to 20, set this value to 10. So this Q0.1 was on. But now, after we deliver this program, these two data wiped to 0. That's because this start data, this start value, that's 0. And another key reason, so once we deliver this program, even this value was retained in the PLC, but once we deliver the new program, basically the retained value will be wiped out by this start value. This you need to be very carefully. Okay, how we can deal with this case? From my personal experience, I would recommend before you change your program or try to deliver the program, use this memory card, you need to ask your customer, take some pictures from the HMI, or let you know some important values setting for this project. For example, basically all the important data set by the customer will be showing on the HMI or allows the customer to set something. And you could have some DBs store some important data, maybe by the start value, the initial value, or maybe set via the on-site setting from the HMI. So you need to ask your customer take some pictures from the HMI or directly tell you, for example, the PID parameters or temperature settings or some valve settings or some speed settings. They need to tell you those values. And then from this offline, when you're doing the offline program, you need to set something. For example, okay, I know this value was 20. I know this value is 10. Okay, I set here, set those value as an initial value, as a start value. Then once I transfer this program to the card and deliver this card to the customer, then once the CPU start up, this start value will work. So basically this start value is used to initialize this DB. If we deliver the card and insert the card will override the real data for your on-site PLC. You need to be very careful in this operation. Okay, this is a very key reason I like to show in this video. Okay, realizing this issue, now I will redo this procedure. Okay, now I return this controller to the status before we download the new program. So now if I go online, so in this DB now, it doesn't have the DB 3 or 4 new. Okay, it only has DB 1 or 2. And the current DB value in this controller, that's the 20 and the 10. Okay, And if I go online, as we can see now, the CPU, that Q0.0, Q0.1, okay, is working. Okay, so this second output is on. And now I will do this procedure again. Okay, now I'm going to add the new program again. So first let's go to the DB. Before we add a new program, as I discussed, so we need to ask the customer to restore all the setting data. So in this case, I ask the customer, I know the state 1 should be 20. And the date 2 should be 10. Okay, I add a value here. And then I will add the new data for the new program. So for example, again, I will add 2 rows here. And that name date 3 new. And the date 4 new. Okay, and because this is the new data, I will write the start value. For example, this is the 50 and this is the 40. And for the setting value, we will also turn on the retain. So once the controller cycle power, the data will not be lost. Okay, and then go to the OB1. I will add the same logic here. I will paste the same program. So same thing. So data 3, data 4. Once the data 3 greater than 4, it will turn on the 0.7 output. And the data 1, data 2, this time we have the initial data setting here, restored from on-site, ask the customer. So this time the second queue should be on. Okay, save the project now and then compile, and we can copy this program to the memory card. Okay, now I'm going to insert the Siemens memory card. Okay, so once the memory card pop up, we can delete the existing files in this card. Okay, delete. And then we will see this card will transfer to unknown mode. So let's go to the properties, set this card to card type to transfer. Okay, and after this, we can compile this project, save this project, and transfer this project to the memory card. Load. All right, this time, this DB has this start value. Okay, let me mail this card to the customer, and once they receive, they can insert this card. And this time we will see these two output. This is the controller working on site. As we can see, the first output and second output, this 0.1 that's on, because that date 1 that's equal to 20 greater than 10, the date 2. That's why the second output that's on. So now this end user received this card. This card has a new program, and also some data has the initial start value. Okay, now I'm going to insert this card to this controller. But before insert card, shut down the power. Okay, we shut down the power, and then we insert the card towards to the left side, and then let's insert. Make sure you can hear this click, and then let's power up. Okay, it's transferring the program. Okay, once we see this start stop, this indicator is solid, and this third indicator, this is the maintain, that flashing, that means transfer complete. And now we can shut down the power. If we leave the card in, the CPU will not start. Okay, so we have to unplug the card. So shut down the power. Let's unplug the card. And now let's start up. Okay, so this time we will see, this time output, the second one is still on. The data not lost, that because we restore the data as the start value. And in the meantime, the new value, that date 3 and date 4, and that new logic also turn on this new output 0.7. So that means the existing logic and the data we implement in this new program, and also the new logic and the new data that implement delivered to this controller. Okay, this is the case that you need to be very carefully. All the existing data, you need to write the value to the start, that column. And now if I use the TI portal connect this controller just for verify, so we will see this Q 0.1 and the 0.7, they all turn on because all the data that restored that's still in this controller. We will see the date 1, date 2 that equal to 20 greater than 10. And the new data that is 50 greater than 40. That's why both output they are on. Okay, so this is the using the start value to restore the existing online running data. So we need to ask the customer before we insert card, before we prepare your offline program. All right, let's shift to the next topic. If you have a higher reversion controller, you bought a new one, can this memory card still fit for the new controller? So let's talk about this. As we can see here, the left side, this CPU represent the controller running on site, running from the customer side. And now, maybe the customer, for the spare purpose, they bought a new controller. And now they ask this new controller should have the new feature or the same function, but they don't have the program, right? So they ask you as a machine builder, they ask you to deliver the program to their new controller. But as we know, this controller that has the older reversion, that is the version 4.1. But this new purchased one, that new firmware, that is the 4.5. So if our card still store the old firmware configuration, but if you insert this card directly to this right one, this new firmware CPU, can this new CPU directly use this card, the existing old configuration? So let's try this. So firstly, make sure this selection still select the warm restart run, okay? And if we go to the catalog information, we will see the offline hardware configuration still 4.1, okay? And meantime, this controller actually also have a password. So if we go to this protection, we will see this select the no access, and I have password for this controller. Okay, this is basically the common case for the machine builder. But now if I copy my program to this card, so this project included with the password and even a brand new controller, if I insert a card, this card can download all those configuration with this password setting to this controller. And now let me transfer my project to this memory card. Okay, I will drag to the memory card. Okay, load. All right, I will unplug the card. Okay, so now if I insert this card to this controller, okay, I open and insert this card to this controller now. Okay, let me power up. So once it's power up, if the logic is exactly the same, so we will see the output, this should be the same. Okay, now I'm going to power up this controller. Okay, once we see this start, stop, this indicator turns on, solid, and this maintain flashing, now we can turn off the power. Okay, we turn off the power, and in the meantime, let's unplug this card. We unplug this card, and now let's power up again. Okay, so we will see once this controller power up, the output, they are the same. That basically means all the logic belongs to this controller before that also copied, implement to this CPU. And now I'm connecting this Ethernet cable to my laptop. We can go online, connect this controller and see if this program totally download, if this program is exactly the same. let's shift back to the TIA portal. I'm connecting this right side CPU. So as we can see, everywhere shows green. And if we go online, we will see the actual firmware of this CPU. That is a 4.5.2 because it's a new hardware firmware. But the online configuration actually inside, that is a 4.1. So if we go to the catalog here, that is a 4.1. That means using this card, we totally copy all the configuration to the right side, this new controller. And its IP address is also download, implement into this controller 1.174. If we go to this online access and if we browse, we will see this controller, the IP address also implement download to this controller. So using this card, even we have the new controller, we can insert this card and the same logic or the updated logic can be download implement to this controller new CPU. Okay, this is the case for the new controller and we can insert the card, copy your program or implement the new logic. So your existing controller can still running there and then you can buy a new controller, insert the card, implement the new logic. So you have one backup version and you have a new version for your controller. Alright, the last things I would like to show is going to explain why I have the function block with a password. So as we can see, this function block, once I double click this function block, it has password. And set that password, we can go to the properties of this function block. So we can see this function block is protected. To set the password for this function block, we can right click, click the properties, and we can click this protection. This function is protect. For the OB1, if we try to protect this OB1, we can right click, click this properties, and click this protection. And then you can set up the password. Make sure you write down this password in somewhere because once you lost this password, you will forever cannot open this function or function block anymore. Okay? Usually to protect your program, OB1 and the function FC and the function block, OB1 function and the function block, they are common role to set some password, especially if you have some algorithms or some important equations, you better protect them. The key reason I recommend you set some function or function block with a password. So I'm going to explain like this way. The program in that card, as a user, they can actually open the project reading this card. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate this. So I'm going to close this project and open a new project. In the meantime, I will insert my memory card to my laptop. So we can see it has some project in this card. Okay. And once I open the TI portal, I'm opening one empty, totally empty new project. So we will see this card has something inside. And now I can copy this project from this card, drag them to my empty project. It's uploading. Okay, so as we can see, if you recall, my project, when I download my project to this card, it exactly named this PLC version 4.041. And we will see all the settings, all my OB1 commons and the logic and data. You can see all of them. Go to the DB and you will see all the data here. So you can imagine if you are the machine builder or developer guy and you have the important recipes or some important settings in your program, then the customer asks you to add some new feature. Okay, so you add some feature, deliver the program to them. So the one has the memory card, he could open this memory card and copy the memory card project to his laptop and the TI portal project. So all your logic could be exposed. So without any protection, your logic and the algorithm and it could be exposed for others. But because now my IFC, it has protection. So if I open this IFC, we will see it show me it need a password. Okay, so the user is not able to open this function if we assume this function includes some important equations inside. So that's why I highly recommend as a machine builder, if you do have some program need to protect, so you need to set some password. Right click any program or OB property, go to the protection and set the password. In case your customer would ask you to transfer a program via the card or even use the automation tool, you could consider set some important function block or function with a password to protect your intelligent properties. Alright, this is the topic for using Siemens memory card to deliver the program. This is a very convenient way without any travel, so we can mail the card to the customer to update the PLC program. Alright, that's for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up. If you like to watch more videos in my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you for watching.